All right. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending where you are. This is Cesar Trabanco, VP of Business Services at the Global Chamber, and I'm going to be covering Doug today. He has full hands with a Vietnamese delegation coming to Arizona. So it will be me. I think most of you already been part of this League of Extraordinaries, but in short, what we're looking to find out here is who you would like to meet. And so use your, I see we are around 10 to 12 people, so we're probably going to stick to the 4 minutes. And so let's use those 4 minutes to explain very quickly in a pitch, like what are you doing, what services or what products you're offering, but the most important part is who you would like to meet. And so if it's industry agnostic, make sure to give us some examples of some top three industries, and that's always helpful. So why we don't start with you, Dwight? Since your first face I saw today, you're a master in this type of calls. So Dwight, the floor is
Okay,
all
well,
yours.
as I tried to put in my chat, and I failed on the first message, and then so I had to immediately put it back in again. I'm essentially a cross-border trade finance consultant, helping companies and mitigate the credit risks associated with either export trade or import trade, depending upon the case. So that's one of my focuses. So primarily businesses in the small and medium-sized enterprise area. I'm also, and I'll be very specific here in that I'm currently looking for people that would be prepared to invest $3 million in a 40% stake in a stem cell clinic to be established in Southeast Asia. And this is with a group that's already a proven business plan. They're operating in Central America as well as India and other parts. So it's a proven business model. I've looked at it and that, so I'm looking for and reaching out to parties that might be interested in taking up this opportunity to put this in place. So that's another area that I'm working on. And then I guess lastly, in that trying to support some training programs like I did recently with the Kuwait Investment Authority, where I did a 2-week program on credit analysis to new inductees into the Kuwait Investment Authority, a sovereign wealth fund. So in that case, would be prepared to do workshops with businesses on how to manage, deal with the whole area of credit risk and evaluation. And that's so looking for perhaps local chambers that might be prepared to engage me to put on a workshop for businesses in their community that would have an interest in this, because it's a very important piece as part of going into the world of international trade, either export or import. It's the fundamental foundation block. So my put my email address in the chat. You can also find me on LinkedIn, and open to meet and engage and be and make introductions with others as the case might be. That's otherwise I'm located in Phoenix, so that's my time zone.
Excellent. Thank you, Dwight. Any questions for Dwight? And Dwight, can you tell us, since I calculating time, we have a little bit more time. Tell us a little bit more about that training you did in Kuwait.
Well, it was a 2-week program for 19 new inductees into the Kuwait Investment Authority. These were inductees that had recently finished their graduate and postgraduate degree programs, either in the US or Europe, or with foreign universities operating in Kuwait. And they're going through an intensive, almost year-long program to take up roles within Kuwait Investment Authority, the sovereign wealth fund for the country. And mine was one of the fundamental courses in that on credit analysis, from the whole basics of going about establishing and analyzing, evaluating credit of the parties that you're willing to interested in doing business with, and walking them through the nuances of that, how how to go about that, how to mitigate those risks, and doing it through case studies as well as lectures. Those were over a 2-week period, 5 hours a day for 5 days each week. And yeah, it was the latter part of July, first part of August that I flew over there and did this on behalf of International Development Institute located in Washington, D.C., which, by the way, I was introduced to through the Global Chamber. So that whole thing came about by the efforts of the Global Chamber. In that idea, I reached out to Doug and asked, do you know somebody that could go to work and take on this for us, and that we need somebody available during that time period. Doug referred them to me, and within, I'm not joking, within 2 days, this thing was totally wrapped up and we're ready to go and on board. And it was, for me, it was awesome. It was like going back home because I lived 13 years in Kuwait from 2008 to 2020.
Well, I think I have an idea because you also work a lot with Southeast Asia. So I think I have an idea for you to follow
Thank
up on
you.
that.
Like I said, the
Sure.
hottest thing right now is trying to find an equity
Investment.
parties willing to take up a 40% stake in this proven business plan that they want to establish a stem cell therapy clinic in Southeast Asia. I can say more right now, but I have full details that I can deal with on a one-to-one basis, depending on who I can talk to.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Perfect. So any question? If not,
I did have one.
yeah,
I did
David,
have one.
go ahead.
One comment, Caesar. Thank you very much for Dwight for your introduction. I don't necessarily have an equity idea, but I do a lot of the same training in the international trade, but I don't focus on credit management like you do. I focus on helping companies import and export. So we do more of the operational and transactional piece of international trade. So I think there's a great synergy for us to connect offline on how we can collaborate with each other. We do a lot of training and outreach and educational programs for companies in the U.S. for importing and exporting. So
well,
I think it's a great connection.
Just aside on that, I mean, I have almost 30 years experience in international credit and that working for multinationals. And that's, so I know the process from A to Z relative to making sure that at the end of the day, the export or the import is successful and that whoever the supplier or is gets paid.
Absolutely.
I can make
and that's
between you two.
Yeah, I just was going to say that's the piece I don't do, Dwight. So that's why I think it might be a great collaboration for you and I to complement each other.
Yeah, I got real world live experiences that I can share, which was invaluable when I was doing this course in Kuwait. Trust me.
Great. Sounds good.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. And so let's move now from that from the U.S. to Brazil. Beatriz Rodriguez was part of my call this week with Global Chamber of Spanish. So Beatriz, welcome back, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Cesar. My name is Beatriz Rodriguez. I'm Venezuelan, living in Brazil since 2017. I have a consulting practice in quality assurance, industrial microbiology, open innovation and coaching. Work also with small, medium companies dedicated to manufacturing of cosmetics, hygienics, domisanitaries, household care products, also food that need to prevent microbial contamination in their operations, in their water systems. So I'm looking to connect with this type of companies. Also, I have an educational program that is tailored to the company needs. And during this time, I already developed several trainings. And as I really don't want to have a platform for trainings, I'm looking also for any company that wants to take advantage of these technical trainings associated with the areas that I already mentioned. to increase their portfolio of trainings that they can provide. And I have those trainings ready. No, if some of the companies have that and want to partner with our company, please let me know. As I say, I think I say it or you say it, Cesar, I'm located in Brazil, Sao Paulo state. Thank you.
Thank you, Beatriz. And the trainings and the service and the consulting services you provide are trilingual, right? Spanish, English, and Portuguese.
Yeah, any of these I can manage, yes.
Perfect. Any questions or comments for Beatriz? And if not, we're gonna move to Rob in Vancouver. But first, I started using the AI from Zoom, so I'm basically asking AI to summarize everyone's intro, and I just put in that in the chat, just in case for those who are joining late, or for those who want to really follow up after. So and I invite you all to leave your contact details in the chat as well. Thank you, Beatriz. Rob Arthurs in Vancouver. Welcome, Rob.
Thank you, Cesar. Nice to see everyone. Good morning. I'm Rob Arthurs. I'm a business consultant specializing in international trade here in Vancouver, Canada. The things I specialize in is agri-food and agri-tech. I did that for 14 years with the British Columbia government. My job was to matchmake international firms that are in those spaces and lead trade missions around the world. So I had a chance to visit many of the trade shows in agri-tech and agri-food around the world. And since I left the government 5 years ago, I have been hired by the government of Netherlands, New Zealand, working on a contract right now with the government of Mexico and the government of India, and matching agri-tech and agri-food entrepreneurs to Canadian incubators and accelerators here that are pumping out some very, very cool technologies. We work very closely with our US counterparts, especially my old office in Seattle for the British Columbia government there. Troy, who also comes on this call once in a while, used to be one of my colleagues who worked for the BC government in the United States. So we are working on several different things on different trade missions. On the other side of that, on the international side, I am working with a company here in British Columbia that has 240,000 liters of Canadian first-year, one-year-old Kentucky oaked whiskey, and another 6 million liters of whiskey right behind it. And this is the most state-of-the-art facility ever built in Canada in the last 50 years. And I think Al Capone and Bugsy Malone would be very happy of what's happening for the bootlegging here in Canada. So that's among other things I'm working with, but mostly in those spaces right now. Anything to do with agri-tech and agri-food is where I'm looking at. I'm looking for companies and countries that are looking to expand their entrepreneurs to matchmake with Canadian companies. And interesting in what we're doing is within the government of Mexico, Canada, or in particular, we have a joint venture with the government of Mexico in the University of Mexico City, where we put our entrepreneurs from Canada into the universities in Mexico, as well as the Mexican entrepreneurs will come to Canada in joint ventures. And it's all about completing projects that might be 80 or 90% complete, and there might be a 10% that the entrepreneur in Mexico or Canada or Netherlands might have to finish that project. So we've got some great successful things that have happened already with Canadian and Netherlands entrepreneurs who came together to the joint venture and are doing projects for the UN in Africa. So they're great opportunities. So that's my wish for today. Thank you, Cesar.
Thank you, Rob. And how's the whiskey doing in Japan and in Korea? I think we were talking about that the last time you joined.
Yes, we were. And you know what? Who would know that Japanese whiskey, it doesn't even sound right, that the Japanese have got they've won the best tasting whiskey in the world for a few years. And Japanese whiskey in India is over the top. So we are now working with a Japanese company to be the supplier of some of their whiskey. So we can take our bulk whiskey and combine it with their whiskey because of time of real estate constraints in Japan and trying to grow and supply the whiskey market in India. So we're working with several companies in Japan and Korea as the trend goes away from mom and dad's drink of soju, mom and dad's drink of sake, and into whiskey and other things that most of the millennials are drinking here.
Awesome, awesome. I see a question from Tamina Watson. Rob, have you helped people who have cocoa productions in Africa? And Tamina, feel free to jump in and specify more about the question if you want.
And the short answer on that is, Cesar, yes, I have. I'm working with a company, an award-winning company from Cameroon here that has a cocoa farm in Cameroon. And we just cannot get enough of their cocoa beans because we have put together, one of our entrepreneurs here had created the first sort of cocoa bean roastery outside Quebec City. So it's one of the fourth most modern cocoa bean roasters in Canada, in North America for that matter. And she's now doing cocoa butter for the cosmetic industry and all kinds of things. But the cocoa industry is having a chocolate chip sort of shortage of people that are trying to make chocolate bars. And she just won an award in New York, the entrepreneur who's running this company, IEC. So I'd be happy to matchmake IEC to Tamina.
Excellent. And thank you, Rob. Let's just keep moving. And Tamina, let's go to you. I think I haven't seen you in a while, so it's good to see you. And you've been working with a couple of our members, so it's great to see you here. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so grateful. I'm sorry I haven't been able to attend many of these, but I look at them and I'm like, can't make it. Anyway, I am grateful because I have met a lot of amazing people through Global Chambers, and I am currently working with some of them, including Erica and Ruby, and several others. I am an immigration attorney. Hi, Samar. I see Samar, a friend of mine. Immigration attorney in the United States. I practice business immigration primarily. I work with investors, entrepreneurs, businesses that are expanding their mission into the United States. I have written a number of books. One of my books is actually a visa guide book. I think I have one here. It's called US Immigration Visa Guide for Startups and Founders. I regularly get a lot of amazing feedback from people who read it, and just saw that somebody bought 25 books. So I feel very, very grateful and honored it's being useful. I'd love to connect with anybody who needs help. You know, the gateway to immigration, I mean, the United States is really immigration, and I'd love to be that person for you.
Excellent. Thank you, Tamina. And you mentioned where you're based?
Oh, yes, I'm in Seattle, Washington, although I was born and raised in London, UK, and I immigrated myself. So I went through the immigration process. So I really understand the pain that my clients go through.
Got it. Perfect. Any questions or any comments for Tamina? And if not, Tamina, make sure I haven't seen, I don't know if you put your contact details, but make sure you put your contacts and LinkedIn and everything you have so people can connect. Samar.
How often do you have to update that book?
Good question.
Good question. I'm waiting for the H-1B regulations to come up so I can update it. I've been holding off on doing an audiobook because I know the update is going to have to come soon. So I don't want to do it twice. But I would say every 18 months to 24 months, depending on what's changing.
Good. Excellent. Thank you, Tamina. And Samar, why we don't wait? Since we're talking about immigration and so you're covering another region, let's go with you. And thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Cesar. So I'm Samar Shams. I'm managing partner at Changes Immigration, and we're a boutique immigration law firm based in the UK. So we help with UK inbound matters, and we can also help with project management of global mobility matters. So we are handling business and personal immigration matters. I've always done both. We work with UK employers who are sponsoring people to work in the UK. and there's a lot of compliance around that. But we also do a lot of support for businesses expanding to the UK, or individuals who want to move to the UK as professionals with their families and eventually settle, maybe get citizenship here. So what we would be looking for would be HR contacts at fast-growing companies, particularly fast-growing tech companies, or owner managers of fast-growing tech companies, particularly if either of those types of contacts would be interested in expanding to the UK. Then also individuals. So the UK has a really wonderful visa option called the Global Talent Visa. And that's open to individuals who have exceptional talent or exceptional promise in digital tech. But also for some other specific sectors, including artists. And my heart belongs to the arts. I love working with artists, so I'd be delighted to be introduced to any artists who'd be interested in moving to the UK, because there is an option available to them, and we have experience in that. Does anybody have questions for me?
I guess this question can go to both of you. What countries are you typically working with in terms of, what people and companies are coming to the UK or the US in your case, Tamina?
Do you want to go first, Tamina?
Sure. I mean, to be honest, from everywhere, really, truly from everywhere. There are different types of visas for people from Australia that are really useful. The E3 visa. There are specific visas for people from Canada and Mexico, specific visas for people from Chile and Singapore. But the visas in general, particularly like the H-1B or the L1, they're industry agnostic and country agnostic. When it comes to the green card, there are limitations, of course, but that's why it's important to have a strategy throughout. But I would say anywhere and everywhere. What about you, Samar?
Yeah, I'm the same. I think that there are a lot of immigration practices that focus on people coming from one area or another. But for me, one thing I love about the job is working with people from everywhere in the world. I live and work in the UK, but I grew up mostly in Washington, D.C., as you can probably tell from the accent. Dwight, I've actually lived in Kuwait. I've lived in a lot of different countries. I went to international school. So I just love all things immigration and international, and I want to work with people from everywhere. The UK does have very specific roots for nationalities ranging from Andorrans to, Australians. So there is, the thing about UK immigration is that there is almost always an appropriate option, visa option, but the rules are really voluminous and very complex and detailed. So that's where I come in. I've been doing it for too long, for ages, and I really know all the ins and outs and can provide that kind of strategic advice to help people meet their goals.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you both. I'm glad I asked, because I remember now a member in Australia that was looking to move to the US. So there you go. Probably someone I can connect you with. Then let's, I don't know if Peter Gravic. Peter, are you able to speak?
I am, Cesar. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm hearing about, immigration and moving from, around the world. And you're one that are moving around the world doing business and involved in many
Yes.
investment projects. So let's move to you and tell us more about you, your company, and what you need.
Yes, absolutely, and thank you. So, I work with a family of companies, and we have a few specific business lines. So one of them is, my office here out of Washington, D.C., and we do investigations, due diligence, and recovery services primarily for export credit agencies, development finance institutions. So these tend to be kind of larger institutional players. So for example, here in the US, we work with Exim Bank, DFC, we work with KFW, Tradius, Euler Hermes, kind of some of these larger firms that work in trade and project finance. But one of the other business lines that we work on is we do economic development projects in the Midwestern United States associated with the EB-5 investor visa. So this is basically a visa where what we do is we aggregate capital for multiple investors into projects in the Midwest. And we work with Baker Tilly, which is one of the larger consulting accounting firms here in the United States. And they basically put all the packages together for USCIS, for United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, to show that the investors have satisfied the economic development requirements of the program. And so one of the ways that we commercialize this program is through intermediaries. Because of the other business lines that we do, we work with law firms literally all around the world, 129 countries, and oftentimes these law firms are the ones that are sourcing potential investors for us. And we remit USD 25,000 for every transaction that is basically sourced this way. So anything more detailed than that, I'd be happy to speak with anyone interested offline and begin kind of arranging things. This is a program overseen by USCIS, so obviously there's a lot of compliance and regulatory and all that fun stuff that I know you lawyers love. I'm an economist by training, so I work with a lot of lawyers, though. Thank you, though, Cesar, for the opportunity.
Thank you, Peter. We're in the Midwest. You're working with.
So the regional centers that we have are, so our regional center is headquartered in Columbus, Ohio, but we do work primarily across much of the state of Ohio, and the areas that are most, from a business perspective, the use case that's best is logistics. Ohio is actually a day's drive from about 60% of the US and Canadian population, and they have a lot of really good logistics connections there. And there's also a lot of development that we've been working on recently that is associated to the Intel plant. They have a $20 billion plant that they're building there. It's building out a large section of activity in eastern Ohio. And when you have something like that develop, there's a lot of business that develops around it over the next decade, frankly. I usually don't focus too much on the domestic stuff. I'm the international guy. I just kind of get a monthly update on that. But that's what they're doing there in Ohio.
Awesome. Thank you, Peter.
Thanks.
Any questions or any comments from the group? And if not, let's continue with the next. Stuart Golding. Welcome, Stuart. I think you're muted.
Hi, thank you very much. Hello, everybody. It's about 4:30 p.m. in the UK at the moment, where I'm based. I'm based near Southampton on the south coast. We have very windy weather at the moment, but currently it's dry. And I haven't been caught in any of the recent floods that this country has suffered over the last few weeks, I'm pleased to say. Okay, so I'd like to start by asking a question of everybody. Have you ever considered what you'd do if your customer data, or indeed your business data, was subject to a ransomware attack? What would you do if your data was unavailable to you and you couldn't use it anymore? Or if some of your customer data got stolen from you and ransomware attackers threatened to put it out online, make it public, and threatened you with a ransom? Have you ever considered what you would do and what the impact would be on your business? That's my question.
Anyone has anything to comment there? I personally haven't done much with that, but I've seen a lot of cases with hospitals and companies.
Yeah, most weeks you can see reports in national newspapers and national news agencies reporting on data breaches. But the problem is people don't take it seriously enough and people don't look after their data well enough. What we can do for you is do a free 60-minute consultation, no obligation, no cost whatsoever, and we can help you to understand whether your data is and your systems are likely to be the subject of ransomware attacks or other attacks that could have a really big impact and severe consequence on your business. So if you would like me to do like I said, a free 60-minute, no obligation, totally free assessment of your cybersecurity readiness, I'd be more than pleased to help. We would write a report for you. You would have a report that you can take away, which would give you recommended and prioritize things that you should do to make sure your business is more secure and less likely to be the subject of a data attack. I've already put my website on the chat. It's Stuart Golding at UK Data Secure Limited. We can help you wherever you are in the world. We can do it remotely, quite easily and quite simply. And like I said, it's completely free and no obligation whatsoever. So please connect with me if that's of interest to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stuart. I think David already mentioned something in the chat as he will be interested. So
okay.
Any other questions or comments about this opportunity? And if not, David, I think we didn't you participated earlier, but you didn't introduce yourself, David. Can you speak now?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much,
Hold on a second, David. Just sorry, Dr. Crawford. I think you were trying to say something.
No, I'll wait when you've got time later.
Okay, perfect. So, David, go ahead.
Yes, so my name's David Harlow. I'm with ITC Diligence. We're licensed customs brokers and international trade consultants. We help companies import and export goods in and out of the United States. We also help companies participate in different federal programs to help them save money through participating in free trade agreements, foreign trade zones, and bonded warehouses. This helps companies grow their business, create and retain jobs, stimulate the economy, and promote international trade. And what I'm looking for today is just looking for opportunities to work with companies in tribal communities and looking to do more engagement in Africa, which is the new frontier of global trade. So anything we can do to help businesses in those environments would be great.
Thank you, David. Have you been part of our Africa calls? We have a monthly Africa meeting.
Yes, I actually was on the one earlier this month with Comey. And so I participated in that one and made some good connections. So always looking for more opportunities, all right?
Perfect. I'm pretty sure we have a really good number of people to connect you with, like in Accra, in Nigeria. Nihi, I think Nihi Nihi is here. Nihi, let's go to you and maybe have you been able to connect with David?
No, not yet, but I'm hoping so. Hoping to do so.
Yes.
Yes,
I will make that quick intro and why we don't go to you, Nihi, so you can introduce yourself.
Right. Yeah, thank you very much, Cesar. Always great to be here. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm a lawyer in Lagos, Nigeria. My name is Niyi Sanusi. What I basically do is to help or support companies that have interest in Africa in business, legal, and lately technology. We have quite diverse network of lawyers across the continent, 54 countries. And so we were able to support your business or interest to a significant extent. Our network has about
Nihi, if you can hear us, maybe you can turn off your video.
11, 12 countries represented, mainly English speaking, then Portuguese and Spanish in African. Oh, sorry about that. There's a call coming. Can you hear me?
Yes, but it's breaking up a little bit. Yes, right now we can hear.
Sorry about that. Okay, yeah. So I was saying that we have a fairly good network of law firms across the continent. at least 12 out of the 54 countries currently represented, but expanding. So ultimately, if you have some kind of interest in Africa now or for the foreseeable future, I will be happy to have a discussion and see how we can take it from there. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Nihi. Nihi is part of our advisory board in Lagos and very involved in all of our activities in Africa. So thank you. Any questions or comments? And not, let's just continue. I've seen a couple of people joining. Dr. Pauline Crawford, let's go with you.
Oh, hi there, Cesar. Hi, everybody. Apologies for coming in late. I just was on a very exciting call with somebody in the UK about education of what she said, the lost generation. So the 18 to 25-year-olds who are currently in England, but are living there from other countries. So my name is Dr. Pauline Crawford, and I'm passionate about expanding education and lifestyle and leadership cross culture. So I'm just very excited today because there's this great potential to bring something, a new mindset to how kids can actually accelerate into being entrepreneurs after they leave school. Because one of the things this contact said is that when kids have been harnessed by school up to age 18, and they don't necessarily have the capability to go on to university, they suddenly drop off the radar of support and help. So her organization is looking to help these kids, and they're targeting 30,000 kids in the UK, and they're not all from Africa, but they are, they can come into the program. So I did share about the Global Chamber of Commerce as well, because I thought there could be a connection, Cesar, with what we talked about in terms of not just educating these lost generations, and they're going to call them early stars, that's the name of the project, but to accelerate them into being able to run their own business and then become part of a youth part, maybe of the chamber, the Global Chamber of Commerce. I just wanted to share my excitement that, if we harness this 18 to 25-year-old boys and girls, and out of that 30,000, they're targeting 45% of boys and 55% of girls. So if you harness them at that age into being entrepreneurs who can build their own businesses, you start changing the way they develop the new world ahead. So instead of going out and being suicidal or depressed or causing riots, they actually harness their talent. So anybody who's interested in that, I'd love to know. But I'm just excited about what we can do to shift the energy. And for me, the big thing is that those of us who are older and wiser and had a long life history, what we do is we create a life dissertation. So you become the mentors for these kids. So if anybody's excited about that, and maybe Cesar, you and I can talk about this later, but I think we can change it because her interest is in Africa mainly, but we are talking about changing how these kids go back into Africa, Asia, anywhere in the world and create businesses that change the world. Thank you.
Sounds good, Dr. Crawford. Have you connected with Jalen Q in our HQ team?
Sorry?
Jalen, have you been connected to Jalen in our Global Chamber team?
I don't think so. What was the name?
Okay. Jalen Q. She's from South Korea, but she's running the Young Global Leaders Initiative now. So I think she will be a great connection for you.
Okay.
So we can explore.
Can you send that to me?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
And Dr. Crawford, where are you located? I think you didn't get to mention, but a quick intro. Where are you located? Where are you based?
Oh, so basically, I'm a Brit, but I live in Las Vegas, I married an American, so I live in Las Vegas, but I come originally from London, and I lived in Malaysia for 4 years. So I've got very strong connections there and also into Africa. And my passion is to help people lead their lives in a better way, as well as their businesses. So I deliver a PhD in entrepreneurology, which is the life dissertation PhD. And also I work on the people development of leaders and cultures cross-culturally. And I'm very excited about the fact that Richard Branson has just launched his University of Dyslexia, because I'm dyslexic. And I think dyslexia is the game changer in terms of being an entrepreneur. So I'm making that my plus point. But I'm a grandmother and a mother, and my kids are in Brighton in England, and I miss them. So I'm planning to go to London soon and to meet up with this contact and my kids. And
Yeah.
I'm very passionate about the Global Chamber of Commerce, because you stretch across the world. And that's what I want to do, is to bring people together in harmony. So that's my book, The Power of Authentic Harmony. I'll put it in the chat.
Yes, please. And definitely you need to, if I haven't made that one, I will this week for sure, next week, to connect you with Katie Kidd, London.
Yes,
So
that's great. And
Samar is part of that chapter and tour, and we have plenty of members there. That would be
I
great.
love that. And the last thing I'd like to share with everybody is that I'm doing a Globinar for the sales roundtable on October the 10th. So if anybody wants to see what I do about helping men and women to understand each other, I'm going to do a session on that at 9 o'clock Pacific time. I'll put the link in the chat.
Yes, please. Thank you, Dr. Crawford.
Thank you.
So Melissa Quester from Project Hope. Melissa, welcome. Are you able to speak?
I am. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's good to see everybody. I'm Melissa Custer. I am the Director of Corporate and Foundation Partnerships at Project Hope. Project Hope is, it's been around for over 65 years, and we are a global health and emergency response organization. We train local healthcare workers in around 30 countries. We work with the ministers of health, local communities and public health systems to create sustainable programs and strengthen the healthcare systems. Our focus areas of training are maternal, neonatal, and child health, mental health, migrant, NCDs, WASH, infectious disease, HIV, TB, are big in the Africa continent that we're working, and economic strengthening. We are in Asia, Africa, Latin America, Caribbean, and we also do work in the US. In terms of emergencies and humanitarian crises, we have worked in Turkey and Syria. We have responded in Ukraine since the war started. We've been doing a ton of work in Haiti, Israel and Gaza. That's big on our projects right now. And unfortunately, now we are also working in Lebanon. So if anyone has any interest in supporting the emergency response locations, please let me know. And also, I'm just looking to network and partner with corporations that are interested in social investment, healthcare programs in their areas of operations. Nihi and Dr. Crawford, if you're doing a lot of work in Africa, I'd love to connect with you and have a conversation, and any other partners here that would be interested in expanding healthcare programs in the areas where they work. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Do you have any particular countries in mind in regards to Africa?
Yeah, so our main countries that we are expanding in right now is Malawi, Ghana, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, and Zambia.
Perfect. Cool. So yeah, definitely Nihi and Komi and Ruby in Ghana for sure are connection for you.
Great. Thank you. I'll put my information in the chat.
Thank you, Melissa. Any questions or any comments for Melissa?
Yeah, I have one. Just to address what she says, no problem. I'll be happy to connect. Thank you, bro.
Great. Thanks, Nihi.
Thank you, Nihi. And thanks, Melissa. So let's move to
Thank you.
Jedediah Thomas. Am I pronouncing your name right?
Yeah, Jedediah.
Perfect, Jedediah. I saw you since I joined the Zoom, so
Yeah.
sorry for making you wait.
No, no worries, no worries. So good to
you
meet
doing today?
everyone. I'm actually new to the chamber. I'm here by way of Marco Basili. I'm the Executive Performance Architect Strategic Advisor, so he was on briefly earlier. In terms of my own business, I do mindset coaching for executives, business owners. Basically, I can fix stuff in the mind that nobody else can. I've been able to fix stuff that like psychologists, psychiatrists can't fix. Like you name the methodology, nobody's been able to fix the stuff that I have. And I kind of fell into this work. I don't have any formal training. I just kind of like got tired of stuff not working. So I invented all my own methodology, and it proved to be like extremely powerful. So like one guy I got off of 16 to 18 antidepressants in one session, for instance. And like usually when I work with people for a few sessions, it like completely transforms their lives. So in terms of what I'm looking for, business and owners and executives that are looking for mindset transformation that would, either personally or having me on, for the organization, like the organization mindset coach. So that's kind of one side of it. And then I'm also, through that work, I kind of ended up pioneering an entire new form of spirituality based on a new model of physics. So I'm also looking to collaborate with scientists to add kind of like the body of evidence behind what I do, not only on the spiritual side, but on the mindset side.
Excellent. Thank you, Jedediah. And I see that Marco is no longer here. He was, and I had him to present as well. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you're working with Marco and what Marco is doing in terms of
So
performance?
Marco is targeting kind of like the same type of avatar that I am, except what he does is more focused on general productivity, health, nutrition, AI productivity, like advancing everything that you do with AI. He did a talk here, Global Chamber, about AI. So he's an expert, and I think he like got some sort of leadership business. I don't know exactly what that is. But in terms of my role, like I'm just basically the advisor. I just help, like I'm the sounding board for whatever he needs, and I give my opinion and weigh out all the possibilities. So I just kind of help out wherever I can, basically.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good. And where are you based?
I'm in North Carolina, USA.
I see. Perfect. Sounds good. Any questions? I see Tamina mentioned something about a book there in the chat. Is there any other questions or comments?
I turned my video off because my system is slow. It says, I keep getting that, but for Jedediah, so sorry. It's I love what you're doing, and I just put a podcast there for you. This podcaster actually brings in scientists to talk about spirituality, and it might be a way to find people who are in your interest group.
That's a great lead. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you. So let's move now to Tamer Flores. Tamer, in Florida. Tamer, did you get anything from the hurricane?
Yeah, everything has been very interesting. Thank you very much for giving me the microphone. Wanted to present myself very quick. Most of you guys know me, but some maybe not. As you know, my name is Tamer Flores. I'm the founder of Vistiglo. And my motto is better, simple, different, because I believe that success comes from finding better ways. And I do that by making things simple and delivering different out-of-the-box solutions for everyone. And I have 25 years of experience in growth and strategy, and I guide the companies through their international expansion as a fractional chief global growth officer. As I put in Zoom the maestro of global expansion orchestra, meaning that I direct all their expansion until they are up and running in a new country, but I don't play all the instruments. I basically find the best players for the instruments, the accountants, the lawyers, the HR people that they need, and I do everything for them until they are up and running. So that's what I do, and I just wanted to say hello to everyone here, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. I was going to speak Spanish. Oh my God. Thank you, Tamer. Thank you
Está
very
bien,
much.
no hay problema.
You actually, I think it was earlier this month that you gave a Globinar on the different franchising, I mean, different expansion
Different
opportunities,
strategies.
strategies. Yeah,
Yes.
it was a
Yeah.
pretty, it was an interesting one. I recommend everyone to check out our YouTube channel and check the recording. It was really good.
Yes. Oh, I might be able to put the recording here. So let's see if I can in the
If
chat.
you can, you will do a favor for me. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, it was very interesting. I had a lot of people that attended, and I clarify what are the strategies and why do you choose each strategy at any given point, the market conditions and the reasoning why you would do that. You would change, you would choose acquisition and not joint venture or whatever, maybe even franchising or subsidiary, all of those and how you choose that. So I will try to put that here before the time's up.
That's good. Thank you, Tamer.
Thank you.
Let's move. I got a message from Tommy that is just listening in. So that makes Johannes Gates the only person that needs to go. Johannes, are you able to speak? Johannes, are you there? You're mute just in case. All right, so we have 5 minutes left, and something I would like to try is just a quick breakout room. I did it. Okay, so audio is not allowing you to speak. Okay, that sounds good, Johannes. I think you put your info in the chat, so thank you. So I did I did a breakout room earlier this week, and I think it went pretty well. So I'm gonna quickly do a 3 minutes breakout room, probably one-on-one, so you get to spend a little bit more time with the fellow member. So I see Rob needs to go. Thank you, Rob, for being here today. Let me just put the breakout here. Let me see.
Thank you, Cesar.
Okay. All right, so I will open the rooms now. Thanks, everyone. All right. I think we're all back now. Thank you everyone for staying a little bit longer. I hope the breakout room were good. I'm gonna put here just before we go, 3 events that we have next week that might be of your interest. In particular, there's one with Nima. I think someone mentioned Nima in Africa. Nima is in Tanzania, I believe. And yes, Tanzania. So she has, yeah, so she has a webinar with global market expansion. She runs a group of women there, so there might be an interest, Melissa, for you and for others interested in the continent. And so I'm gonna put that in the chat very briefly here. There's also a Japan and Australia meetup. So if those are two countries or regions of interest, you can join there as well. And the last one is on Friday, which is the monthly LinkedIn conversation that Doug has with members. It's all in the chat there. So I'm gonna keep the room open just in case anyone wants to say something else, but I'm gonna just put the stop to recording. Thank you everyone who participated today, and we look forward to continue working with you.
Thanks, everyone. I've got to
much.
call